Welcome to the Prospect Warehouse podcast. And today you only have dos amigos. You have me, Tim Kanak at Fantasy Ace Ball, and we also have good old Jon Anderson at John PGH. It is morning time. I have been working already for like 3 hours. And it's only 9:30. How you doing, John?
Yeah, we got to find a way to extract millions of dollars from people to help them with their fantasy teams. Then we can all not do other things. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Sí, senor. Well, you got to be positive, man.
I thought about, what if I changed MLB Data Warehouse from $12 a month to $50,000 a month? Then I would just need one subscriber.
Yes. You would have to cater everything to that one person, and it would have to be like a crazy millionaire who this is their obsession.
Right.
This is like their life obsession.
Or just like so much money they don't even realize it comes out of their account every month. Because if it was a one subscriber deal, what if he's like, I don't want to play fantasy baseball anymore, and unsubscribes? Then you lose it all. So it's like, what's the right? I've always thought about that. Is it better to sell a high-priced product to a small amount of people or a lower-priced product to a large amount of people? I think it's more fun in this space to have a lot of people interacting and stuff. More fun that way, but it's hard to find the right price, the optimal price and everything.
Yeah, there's a happy median. You want to go for above average, I would say. Go for the lawyer and doctor class of fantasy baseball players.
Yeah.
And you'll be good. You don't need to go for CEOs. We'll go for high enough income individuals that you can pay for a steak and not be sad at the end of eating it. That's what we want. We want you to pay for our data and then not be sad that you just spent money on fantasy baseball.
Right.
It's painless. That's our tier. We want people who can painlessly pay for the subscription.
Yeah, we don't like poor people. So
poor people.
Go away. Life's tough.
Yeah, just like I don't like the Cubs because that's who we're talking about, and I'm a Cardinals fan. So we're talking about my rival. This is not quite as bad because I went to University of Missouri. It's not quite as bad as talking about the Kansas Jayhawks.
Oh man,
but it's kind of up there.
Hold on. That's not here. I'm a big Kansas Jayhawks fan, or used to be.
I hate them utterly.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, Missouri. I have no reason to be. I've never been in Kansas. But when I was a kid, I saw
a boon. If you went there, then you would hate them.
Okay. I saw the big bird on the court when I was a kid, and I was like, that's a cool looking bird, and I like basketball, so I'll pick them. And then I was a big fan. And this is really the first year that I'm not, because I watched their first game, and I hadn't heard of a single player. So I was like, I think it's time to drop this. But I've got all kinds of Kansas, blankets and clothing and stuff. It was a big thing for me around my college years. But yeah, I remember those Kansas-Missouri games getting pretty wild, but Kansas usually took care of business.
I have a fire pit at my house, so when you do come, if you want to bring that stuff, I will happily burn it with you.
Okay. Bill Self?
Yeah.
Is Bill Self a total hatred or?
Yeah, everything about Kansas, total hatred. Driving through it, there was a time in my life I lived in Colorado, and I'm from St. Louis, and the St. Louis drive to Kansas City is fine, but then as soon as you leave Kansas City, all the way to Denver is nothing. It's the worst. There's not even a place. There's only a place to stop every 100 miles, and it's literally 8 to 10 hours of nothing. So
isn't that's true for Missouri too? I mean,
no, Missouri at least has hills and woods and stuff, and it only takes 3 hours to get across it. So, and fun fact, because I've lived in Florida for about almost half my life now, over a third, close to half. But fun fact about Florida is if you're leaving the Keys, it takes 16 hours to get from Key West to get to the Panhandle. It is a very, very, very tall state. Nobody realizes that until you live here. So I can drive from the East Coast to the Gulf of Mexico in 2 hours or less. So it's very east to west, it's very thin. But then north to south, it's humongous and nobody realizes. So fun fact about Florida. But let's get to the Cubs. Number 20 is Kaleb Wing. Again, one of your favorite types of guys, John, a high school draftee with no college stats to even look at, no minor league stats whatsoever. But Kaleb Wing is interesting because he was a fourth rounder who the Cubs paid double slot, or like more than double slot. They paid him 1.5 mil. And this dude, year over year, added like 8 miles per hour of velocity to his fastball. So he's throwing like 95, 96 now. And he has a lot of ride on the fastball, which is like his primary pitch. That's most likely what he got drafted for. He also throws curve, slider, changeup, but as a high schooler, like stuff like that will tweak before he really matters for MLB stuff. But a high schooler who can throw high 90s is pretty good, pretty solid. And they paid him a lot of money. So I think Kaleb Wing is one to note.
Okay, no comment.
And you spell Caleb with a K.
Caleb. That's good for a pitcher.
K. Yeah.
Get some K's in your name.
Get some K's in. Number 19 is Fernando Cruz. Fernando Cruz was a big international signee last year, and he only played in the DSL this last year and didn't really do too well. Actually, it looks like he played some complex games too, but he didn't do too well. DSL, he hit 215. Complex, he hit 165. So not really good statistically ever since getting signed, but they did pay him a ton of money. I'm going to actually look that up right now. How much money did they pay Fernando Cruz when they signed him? Because I know it's not the second highest.
Like the Yariel Rodriguez thing, I guess this probably isn't too similar to that, but there is seeming to be a situation where you don't really know how it'll turn. I just remember Yariel Rodriguez a few years ago, people being pretty into him. There being a little bit of a bidding war for him. The Blue Jays got him, and now they cut him. They just outright cut him. So it seems like some of those scouting reports from those foreign or whatever international signings might not always be super great.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a Dominican dude, and they paid him $4 million. So I think he was the second highest paid guy out of after Joswar Gonzalez in 2024, and he's just been very terrible since they paid him $4 million. So, I mean, I guess worst case, like hopefully he kept some money. I'll say that. Yeah. Hopefully he did not spend it all yet, because he has not been very good, and I don't know if he's going to get any more. So, but I mean, at least he has pedigree, so that's why he's here, number 19.
And he's got a duplicate name. I hate the duplicate name guys. Fernando Cruz, Yankees reliever. So
that's basically being named like Bob Jones or something, right? For Dominicans, Fernando Cruz. Number 18 is Will Sanders. Will Sanders is a very, very boring starting pitcher.
But sounds like one.
Yeah, but he probably will pitch in the majors. So he was 23 years old last year. You can actually bring out scores up for him, John. 6'6", 230 pounds. So he's a big dude, which is fun. But 15.4 K minus walk rate. Like nothing really special about him at all. See, 96 stuff, 108 control, 96 FERA. So kind of like a back end starter. Like maybe he's a number 5 starter at some point. He only throws 92 miles an hour. We have his Arsenal data here. So out of the arsenal, like the slider is a 15.7 swinging strike rate, and the splitter is a 19%, but everything else is basically below average. So nothing sexy that he throws, just kind of like an okay number 5 innings eater type starter here for Will Sanders.
They need that. It's hard to cover when you're not that the Cubs are like a lowly team, but it's hard to get 162 times 9 times 3. That's how many outs you need to get, more or less. I guess you don't have to get 27 every. If you lose, you don't have to get 27 outs, but something to be said for that, right? It's a lot of innings to cover, and not a very small percentage of the population could actually get 1 out, I would say. I mean, I suppose I could get an out eventually, like you'd eventually get one, but the innings eaters, the guys that just get some outs, even if you give up a run or two on the way, like valuable in real life, but probably not for fantasy.
Yep, probably a high 4s 5 ERA guy who's a 5th starter, but at least he's going to play. So there's some leagues where that's just kind of all you need. Number 17 is Juan Cabada. We've got here another DSL player. He was paid a lot less than Fernando Cruz, but he's actually been a lot better. So 17-year-old this season, 287, 429, 426 slash. And he had 3 home runs with 20 steals. So 20 steals, only caught stealing 3 times. And he was pretty aggressive, John, because he only got on base. He He was only on base 59 times. So he had 39 hits, 20 walks, because we don't have your stat for this. 3 of those times were home runs, so he was not on first. So that means he was on first base 36 times. He actually had 10 doubles too. So that means he was on base. He was on first base only 46 times, and he has 20 steals. So he's running at almost like a 50% of the rate when he was on first base.
Yeah.
So kind of interesting. Juan Cabada. So we got some speed here. Decent enough hit tool, 73% contact in the Dominican. That like it's not really a concern, and a little bit of pop on top of it. So I think we've got a kind of an interesting DSL guy to watch here.
Okay.
All right, nothing on him.
No.
Nope, no DSL guys for you. Next on the list is Carter Trice. So Carter Trice is a outfielder / first baseman. Looks like he played in 2025. Yeah. 2 games at DH. He was all over the outfield. 5 in right field, 4 in center field, 6 in left field. He played 1 game at third base. This guy's just all over the place. And then also games at first. He actually was a catcher too. This guy's literally played catcher, first, third, every outfield position in the minor leagues. Kind of interesting. So yeah, I don't know. Super util guy here. But he did not hit very well. He had a 184, 339, 370 slash this year. But he had a 223 BABIP. So you can see how bad, look at his AA BABIP, 143. That's just terrible luck. But contact rate is not great, 70 or below. So that gives him a 96 hit tool on the F scores. 117 power, though. 104 is discipline, 114 speed. So there's a little bit of power and speed here. He's almost like one of these Astros prospects that we talk about, because how do you hit under 200 but still get 15 home runs and 23 steals? Like, it's actually pretty impressive that you can do that much. Like, you can put up that many stats, that many counting stats with that bad of a batting average. But he did it, so...
Is it like crazy fly ball rate? I wonder. That seems to kind of be how you get to that result.
Yeah, he has a not really 42% fly ball, 41 ground, 16 line drive. Like that's not a good line drive rate, but that's not that off of like a regular baseline batted ball profile.
What's that?
He does pull the crap out of the ball though, 52% pull rate.
Yeah,
so.
That'll do it. The Fangraphs fly ball rates are way different than what I use, so I don't even know what's high on Fan. Do you know what's like really high on Fangraphs?
I would say like your standard line for batted ball is like 20% line drive, 40 fly ball, 40 ground ball. It's like what you look at standard.
Okay.
On Fangraphs.
So it's different. Savant doesn't. My dashboards and stuff like this. I guess there won't be a number here, but a pop up on Fangraphs, if you hit a pop up straight in the infield, it counts that as a fly ball, and Savant completely separates it. It has pop-ups and fly balls differently, so fly ball rates would be higher on Fangraphs, and I think Savant and my dashboards do it better, because a infield fly is not really a fly ball. I mean, you wouldn't want to, like, that's not a positive outcome.
No, that's bad. That's like the next worst thing besides striking out.
Yeah,
is infield fly ball. So
number,
what are we, 15 on the list is Brandon Birdsell, starting pitcher. He's been around for a long time. He, again, just like Will Sanders, is like a number 4 or 5 starter at best. I think he's a little bit better than Will Sanders. Like, there's a little more interesting stuff in his arsenal. But again, a 14% K- walk rate. He was hurt last year, so he had elbow surgery and season-ending elbow surgery. So he probably will not be pitching in 2026. But when he's healthy, he could be a back-end major league starter. We see here on the thing, if you're watching YouTube, fastball 14.6% swinging strike rate. So while it doesn't have good movement, 8.3 is not good. That's only like 14, 15. That's like below average vert. But it does get swinging strikes. And then the slider, 16.7 is okay. So like his stuff, just arsenal wise, is a little bit better. 102 stuff, 115 control, 101 FERA. But he is out, even though he was at AAA. So it's very likely he does make his debut soon after being healthy. But he was out and he was 25. So it's like he'll come back as like a 27-year-old and might be like, I would say he's probably going to be like a flex starter, John. Like, he's going to be one of these guys who comes back. They don't want to waste more bullets in the minors. He's probably like a long reliever. Then maybe he becomes like a 4th or 5th starter at some point. So that's kind of what I see for Birdsell's future.
I swear I've heard of that guy before. Was he traded or something? No.
No, he's just very close to the majors. So like
Okay.
it would make sense to draft him in like a DC or something last year because
Okay.
in 2024 he had thrown 135 innings with a bunch of those in AAA as a 24-year-old. So when you look at that, you're like, oh, this guy's really close to the majors. Like this is like maybe like a 50th round pick or something in a DC. So
yeah, DC meaning the draft champions drafts on an FBC, which are 15 teams, 50 rounds. So it's 750 players go in that one. So you gotta get weird. Birdsell, not related obviously, but two fun names, I guess.
Yeah, definitely Birdsong over Birdsell, despite having like the worst command in professional baseball. Yeah. So like worse than Joe Boyle. Number 14 is Jostin Florentino. Do not confuse with Edward Florentino. He's not nearly the same. He's a pitcher, and he threw 81 innings last year, pitched in complex and A-ball, 22.4 K- walk rate. So pretty interesting K- walk rate. Very solid control. You could see a 98 F stuff if you're watching on YouTube, 115 F control, 111 F ERA, 309 JA ERA. So he's far away as a pitcher. 21. He's already 21 now. So like he is kind of, I guess, like average age for the level. So you shouldn't like, even though we don't have a WRC plus for pitchers, like I wouldn't factor any like age to level bump. Like we talked about Braylon Dowdy at A-ball last episode yesterday. I would much rather have like a Braylon Dowdy over this guy. But he is pretty interesting. I think someone to watch for the future. Jostin Florentino.
Yeah, a couple of years away. 27% K rate. I mean, the 8% walk rate is nice. That's like a major league average walk rate, but in the minors, you should probably consider that better than average.
Yes, for sure. Next on the list is Angel Cepeda. So Angel Cepeda, I'm going to bring up real quick here, is a shortstop and third baseman. And I feel like this is another one of those names, John. Angel Cepeda. Like, is that like straight up, a Bob Smith type name? Out of Dominican Republic here. Shortstop, third baseman. Strikes out a ton, but kind of like I said with like the Astros prospects, I don't know if there's like a relation between Cubs and Astros front office, but it's a lot of power and speed and not great discipline. So 102 power, 99 hits, 90 discipline, 121 speed. So we don't like that, but he was 19 at A-ball. He ran pretty high BABIP, so I don't know how much you can buy the batting average, but below 70% contact rates and 31% strikeout rate is not good. But he does run, so 27 steals, 79% stolen base rate. So he's efficient enough on the base pass, and he's not small. He's 6'1", 170, so he could definitely grow into some more power, but he has to for sure work on the plate skills.
Hit lefties well, shorter. It's always splits you really shouldn't even look at, I guess, if you're talking about one season or even less than that in this case. 86 plate appearances against lefties. Everything, all the discipline stuff looks the same, but he at least hit homers at a lot higher rate. 3 homers and 86 PAs, 500 slug. But another very young guy. Lots of young Cubs so far.
Well, they are the Cubs, not the Bears, so it makes sense.
Should note that a lot of these guys, though, I need to be taking notes. I live a few miles from the South Bend Cubs, high A affiliate in the Midwest League. So I'll be seeing a lot of these guys. My youngest son just turned 3 yesterday. Happy birthday to him. So fully this summer, I think it'll be the first summer I think I'll be able to take the boys to a game and like watch the game for a little bit.
Yeah, I will literally take 5, 4, and 3-year-old to the game. And I would say that the 5 and 4-year-old are good for like 3 innings at a time.
That's fine. Yeah.
And then you've got to get up and get them something. You have to like distract them somehow. Here's hot dogs, and just give them some hot dogs, or here's a thing of Dippin' Dots or whatever. Just like give them something to distract them for a couple innings again. And then usually I'm leaving at like the 7th inning stretch. That's kind of how it is.
I don't think I've ever made it to the 6th inning, and I'm not all that worried about the end of the South Bend Cubs game. Like, you're not really hoping they win or anything like that, so it's fine. But
you're not. No. so number 12. You're gonna love this, John. Look, position DH.
Oh.
This guy was a second round pick from the Cubs last year, and the only position he played all year was DH. So
wow.
They paid this guy almost $2 million, $1.7 million to play DH, and to not play a position after getting drafted. So that means they must really like the hit tool. But last year, he only played in 29 games. I tried to find out what happened to him, like what kind of injury. Got nothing.
Maybe that's what it was, right? Maybe he was hurt and he couldn't play the field.
Yeah, very possible. So let's find out where his games were all played.
He played in the
early season, and then he played one game, like the last game of the season on September 6th. So literally he played from the beginning of the year until May 13th, and then he played one game at the end of the year.
And he went to the fall league, so you could look up where he played there, but there he is. That's what he looks like.
That's Cole Mathis. He slashed 215, 336, 402, so nothing great with 3 home runs, but he did have a 121 WRC plus. And he does have good batted ball profile, only a 30% ground ball rate. He had a 40-something% fly ball rate, 47% pull. And then I love this, John, a 27% line drive rate. So tons of line drives. This guy had 13 extra base hits in only 29 games. So that's pretty good. Seems like a really good doubles hitter to me. Looks like a doubles hitter even. Look at that.
What do you think about this camera angle?
That's atrocious. What are they looking at? They're looking at the Reds fan back there.
This must be. It got bumped and nobody was there manning the camera. That's really fun.
Nobody paid attention. In college, I have no idea what college this is. College of Charleston, South Carolina. Have you ever heard of that? I have no idea what league that's in.
I bet it's like college in Charleston, South Carolina. But
yeah, well, his college numbers were good before he was drafted. He had 14 homers and 14 steals, walked more than he struck out, and then had a 335, 472, 650 slash his junior season in college. So he's really good in college. Your thing shows third base, so maybe he was playing third base in college before he was DH. But like I said, he was DHing before the injury. So.
Yeah.
I don't know, man, but it seems like a good line drive hitter, and he doesn't look unathletic, right? Like,
right.
When you went back to him, it looks like you're like, yeah, that guy could play in the field. It's not like you
have to,
Pablo Sandoval. He doesn't look like an Oompa Loompa. It looks like he could.
Right. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking he'd be like have one arm or something like that. He'd be like the, but man, I mean, there's only one DH. And you're a young guy with legs and athleticism. Like, typically you want your DH to be, say, a Suzuki, like a guy in his 30s that can mash and whatever. Like, coming up as a guy that is hoping for DH, that makes it probably pretty close to impossible to get in the lineup if you can't play a position well. And I don't know, this guy's not your number one prospect. It's not like he's a prodigious hitter, so don't think we'll be hearing much about him, but we'll see. Maybe there's a good explanation for it.
Yeah, unless you're JD Martinez, you just have to be a beast. Like, if you're just an absolute freaking unit, then you're going to make it. But next on the list here is number 11 is shortstop Cristian Hernandez. Cristian does not have an H. It's CR if you're looking for him. There's no H in this Cristian here. There's no holy in this Cristian. I don't know. Maybe.
Was there an H in the old, in like Christ, like in the, that's what is that, a Hebrew word or I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Haven't you read a Bible? There's definitely an H. But again,
but that's a translation.
I've never read an old version. So.
Right. It's all our English translation puts an H in it, but I don't know what the original would have been. So
maybe they feel like Chris without the H is a little less blasphemous.
Maybe.
But Cristian Hernandez, as a 21-year-old shortstop, 6'2", 175, nice size. Played at high A last year, flashed 252, 329, 365. But the F scores kind of like him, especially for the speed, because he had 52 steals last year, John. And then he also had 7 homers, so it's not like there's like no pop here. But a 96 power, 102 hit, 96 discipline, then a 130 speed. So Cristian Hernandez is a big dude who could come into maybe mid-teens power because of the size. and a lot of good speed. So like if you pick this guy, you're going speed with a little bit of pop. It's almost like I always like to use the Tommy Edman reference for this type of guy, where they're going to hit like mid-teens homers if they're lucky, and then steal a bunch of bags. And middle infielder.
David Hamilton comp.
I think he's got a little more power potential than David Hamilton, but yeah, that's a good comp. So Trevor Story is not that much power. That's like a little too far to that side. So yeah, David Hamilton with a little more pop, I think, is a pretty good comp for him, actually.
This only has 102 for Story. F score. He's been hurt a lot, I guess. That.
Yeah. Also, Story was Isaac Paredes before Paredes, but nobody realized because he was in Coors, because he's a pull fly ball guy. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
So is Nolan Arenado, by the way. Nolan Arenado is like a major pull fly ball guy.
He went. He probably still hasn't hit one. I remember his, like, if you pull up his home run spray chart, like none of them are opposite field or center field. Like every home run he's almost ever hit has been pulled. It's fascinating.
Yeah. Cristian Hernandez, though, 118 adjusted WRC plus. So definitely an above average player to look out for here with some good speed. 118. And remember, WRC plus doesn't even care about stolen bases. So if you have a 118 WRC plus he's 50 steal guy, and he had 44 steals in 2024. So it's not like a one-off season. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Number 10. This is a fun player. I listed him as super utility because James Triantos he can play second. He can play outfield. He can play shortstop. He can play a little bit of third. So this is basically, and I think that he may break camp next year. And he's still only 22. He's going to be turning 23 next year. But Triantos is pretty good, and he's like a forgotten prospect just because he's been around for a very long time and because the power's not great. But last year he had 259, 315, 370. And the F scores give him a 92 power, a 104 hit tool. But you see his contact rates are up in the near 85%. Zone contacts is almost 90. So 104 hit, that's good. 107 discipline because he doesn't strike out very much. 13 to 15% K rates. He also doesn't walk much, but it's kind of like your Jacob Wilson type profile a little bit, where it's like hit, don't really spend time trying to walk and strike out. 122 speed. So he does steal bags. 31 steals last season, 47 the year before that. So we got some nice speed here from him too. Stolen base attempt rates are good. 40% back in 2024, 35% in 2025. So that hasn't really slowed down. So he is stealing bags. And there's an okay amount of pop. Like, I don't think you're getting a lot, but you might get 10 homers if you got full-time playing time. So, like, this is probably your David Hamilton, except he plays more around the diamond. He's got a lot more. Look, Chandler Simpson is your comp there. That's actually not bad, but I think he's a lot different. I think he's a lot different because Triantos does have a little bit more pop, but Triantos
everybody has more power than Chandler Simpson.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that I really like about Triantos is the position flexibility. So if you're in one of these leagues where like you need a guy who can play multiple positions and just stick him as your main bench guy, he's perfect because he plays third, he plays second, he can play center, left, shortstop. Like he plays everywhere except for catcher, like Cole Mathis or like what's his face, apparently the guy we just talked about. So Triantos is pretty good.
Is he on the ADP board? Anybody going for him?
They should. I mean, he had 440 at bats last year, and he was at AAA the whole year. In 2024, he also had AAA. So that means like he's AAA'd out. Like it's time for this guy to be a major leaguer.
All right, get him on the board. So let's go do a DC. Take him in the 50th round. Get this guy on the dashboard. He's
not going to start for the Cubs, but he should be like their backup for Swanson and Horner, and like he should just be like their Shaw. He should just be like the super utility guy next year on that team. Whenever anyone needs a day off, he plays that position. Yeah. So
some of these names get down here really funny. 7. You get to the 800 one in the world. Yeah.
All right, dude. So we were just talking about like your Bob Smiths of Spanish names. Number 9 here, Pedro Ramirez. Like when I was in Spanish class, I don't know if they do this still, but when I was in school and I took Spanish in high school, we picked a Spanish name. They made all the gringos pick Spanish names. Yeah. My Spanish name in Spanish class was Pedro, and like Pedro Ramirez is just like totally like vanilla for Hispanic names.
Although he's the only one in the minors, so a hitter at least.
Oh, there we go. It's because I feel like Pedro is a Mexican name, and this guy's Venezuelan, so it's kind of strange actually that he's
what was
Venezuelan Pedro.
Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite. What was his last name?
Pedro. I don't know, but that dude was definitely Mexican. So
yeah. Pedro Sanchez or something. I think it was Sanchez.
So Pedro Ramirez, he had a 280, 346, 386 slash. Again, like not a lot of power. You can see a lot of these Cubs guys, the profile they get is hit, speed. That's kind of what they go for and avoid the power. But he is a switch hitting 5'9", 165-pound second and third baseman. Last season, he had 28 steals, 8 bombs. Hits the F scores give him a 95 power. Go back to those. Not 105 hit, 110 discipline, 110 speed, 116 durability. So he's pretty much even across the board. 87% contact rate is great. And then this is where you like Pedro Ramirez is a 157 age-adjusted WRC plus because he was young for the level, playing Double-A last year as a 21-year-old and performing pretty well. 280 batting average, young for the level. So not much power, but besides that, pretty solid player across the board.
Yeah. The steals really came up last year, so you don't know. Never know if that'll stick, but if he's going to go back to like a 15 to 20 steal pace, I don't think it'll ever work for fantasy, but coming up to 28 with that higher attempt rate last year is good.
Yep, for sure. Next on the list is number 8, Kevin Alcantara. This is a guy that I've never been high on. A lot of people have had him on like top 100 lists, and I never ever had him on any of those lists. People like him just because he's big, 6'6", 188 pounds, but he's never gotten into power despite being big. Like he got like O'Neal Cruz comps a couple of years ago from Prospect People when they had him in the top 100. He did debut in the majors, so he does have a little bit of major league experience here. But I'm just not really much of a fan because his size doesn't matter. He has not been able to get into power. F scores in the minors: 110 power, 101 hit, 96 discipline, 99 speed. And this is why I don't really like him, John, is because even though he has decent exit velocities, 107.1 90th, 112.3 max, he hits the ball on the ground all the time. Almost a 46% ground ball rate. Look at his fly ball rate, 23.8%. That's terrible. Yeah. Pull air pull, 10.1%. That's terrible. This guy is not going to hit home runs. Like this guy, basically he has the batted ball profile of Elly De La Cruz, but he's not nearly as athletic. So he's just not going to make a play. So it's just very bad quality contact with Kevin Alcantara. He is not hitting the ball in the right spots to get to home run power. Still hit 17 bombs despite like terrible batted ball profile, but I'm just not really that high on him. You're showing on the screen. If
there's some reps, I mean,
watching on YouTube,
Tucker's not coming back, so I don't think they really want Suzuki to play right field. But
Owen Caissie will probably play. I mean, like I would be playing Owen Caissie over Kevin Alcantara. So, and I'm not even a big Caissie guy. So
I saw Alcantara quite a bit in South Bend, not last year, but he was there for a while, and he would be the one guy that would actually hit a home run. I mean, there's not many home runs at that level, so I saw him go deep a couple of times, but he was there. I swear he was there. Like I saw him one year and then I saw him the next year. Maybe it's a false memory, but I feel like if you go to a high A game and you see the same guy there in 2 different seasons, that's bad news, right? Like you should be moving up.
It looks like he was only there in 2023.
All right. So bad memory. Maybe I will.
But what do you think about that batted ball profile? Because I'm
sure.
I'm not buying that.
Like, we see guys change it a lot. I mean, O'Neal Cruz hasn't figured it out, but Elly De La Cruz, Gunnar Henderson, these recent, like, not that Alcantara's in the same conversation, but major league pitchers do seem to be pretty good at keeping you on the ground if they want to, and then you have to adjust. And if I don't know, it's not like you want to be doing this in AAA, right? A 46% ground ball rate. This guy, he's got some speed, I suppose, but he's with that K rate, he's got to be trying. He must be wanting to hit home runs, right? And he still can't lift the ball against AAA pitching. That's not a great sign, but it's something you can change, and most guys do. Well, the good guys figure it out eventually, but yeah, I do think that's a big deal, a bigger deal than a lot of people will think. A high ground ball rate, it's a red flag, I'd say.
Yep, number 6 on the list is the second round pick from this last year, Kane Kepley from the Cubs. They drafted him out of North Carolina, and he's kind of known for his glove. He's known as like the best defensive outfielder that was in the draft last year. So that's kind of important because that means that he's going to get run and he's going to play, even if like he's struggling.
Not in center field though, right?
Yeah, 5'8", 180. So he's not a big dude. But he actually had a really nice debut, John. So you see, we actually do have some F scores on him. 100 hit tool, 132 speed, 85.6 contact rate is pretty impressive for a guy who's known as like a glove first guy at A ball. So at least he can mash A ball, and he was also walking more than he struck out. So almost a 20% walk rate, only 11% K rate. And this is also awesome, John. He had 2 home runs and 16 steals in only 28 games. So his stolen base attempt rate was 35%, 80% success rate. So there's a lot of stuff to like here, I think, from Kepley. Like if he is going to have a little bit of pop, a really good hit tool, great defense, and then some speed, this is a very interesting player. You don't really see much of him going in first-year player drafts or much talk about him, but I think that he's super interesting. 27% line drive rate too in his debut here, so good quality contact from the get-go for Kane Kepley. So I think that like a lot of people are going to pigeonhole him as a defense guy, but he's more than that. Like he did some really good things in his little A-ball debut here. And even in college, when he was at North Carolina, he hit 291, 451, 444. So he's always had really good plate skills and a really good hit tool, even in college. And he had 45 stolen bases in college this year too, and only 61 games. So this dude loves to run.
I was trying to figure out if, because he had this really low swing rate. I'll go back to that. We talked about this in the Guardians episode, the last one with a couple guys. 34.8% swing rate. I was wondering if that was just like something in the low levels. Like you see so few strikes that swing rates are lower, and it was a little bit lower. So like the big league average is 47%. Minors, upper levels, it looked like 46%, and A ball is 45%. So still, like this is a crazy low swing rate. It's one of these guys that must have just been trying to get on base, right? And he made enough contact to keep the K rate way down. But when you're swinging that little, you're taking strikes and you're looking for walks, and that's great if you can steal the second base. If you don't have a lot of power, then that works for fantasy. So that's the kind of guy that you're actually kind of okay with having a super low swing rate, because if your value is coming from steals, then you want walks, and the best way to walk is to not swing. So that's an interesting profile.
Just get on base. Number 5 is a first baseman, which we like never have first baseman. Like this is how many first basemen have we talked about through all these? Like not very many.
So is that a case of just the teams, they would rather their first base defense, we can find that anywhere. Let's try to get these guys in other more valuable positions to us.
Yeah, unless you're just a beast hitter, I feel like most of the first base, like most of these guys are playing in the outfield or something, and then they move to first at some point. So
like
but
Matt Olson, Pete Alonso, these guys, those guys came up as first basemen.
They came up as first baseman. Yeah. So Bryce Eldridge, Nick Kurtz, like those guys. Yeah. But I mean, Nick Kurtz and Bryce Eldridge were not really in the minors that much. But there's not a lot of guys. There's not a lot of guys unless you're like a major power hitter that come up as first. Like
I bet half the league. It'd be interesting to go see every team's opening day first base last year. Like how many of them came up as first baseman? And probably half
maybe,
like
half. Yeah. So Jonathan Long here is the number 5 prospect. He is probably a guy that could be going in some NFBC leagues because he played 140 games at AAA last year. And at AAA, John, he had a 305, 404, 479 slash line. F scores love him. 106 power, 102 hit, 110 discipline, 84 speed. So those are very solid F scores from a guy who could very well debut. I mean, like obviously Michael Busch is going to be blocking him. So it's like, and then you've got Ballesteros. Like, I don't know what you do with that guy. Like, we'll talk about Ballesteros in a minute, but I don't know what you do with that guy. He cannot play anything except for backup catcher and DH. So if you're blocking your DH position, you've got Seiya Suzuki too. Then like, I just don't really know like where you fit Long in, but he's definitely ready with how well he performed in AAA last year. 20 bombs at AAA. So very good, very solid across the board. Like he's not a major power first baseman, but he's like this guy that comes up and like people forget this. There was a time when Freddie Freeman was a hit first, like 18 to 20 homer guy when he first came up. That's how Freeman was for the first few years of his career. So Long could be that type of first baseman of like early career Freddie Freeman. The dude is not big though, so that's something where I look at a first baseman. Usually, I want like a 6'5" guy, 5'11", 210 pounds. So I don't know what happened. Like what they do with this position stuff, like between Bush and Ballesteros and Long and Seiya Suzuki. But I feel like Long is good enough that he could get some decent run in the major league.
Right. Yeah, it is tough though when you're blocked. I mean, I wonder how many like guys that would have been really good in the majors just never got a shot because they didn't, nobody ever had a spot for him. That's too bad. But you're right. Where in the world would this guy go with Bush and Suzuki and business?
Yeah, it just makes it a little tough for him. But here's some video of him. Boom. So I mean, like he's got a good swing, good plate approach. Like you had mentioned before that there's not a lot of guys with pretty solid F scores across the board, and he's one of them. 81% contact, 87% zone contact, with some power, good line drive, 25% line drive rate. So he's doing things the right way. Like not as many fly balls as you'd like, but besides that, really solid.
Same thing as Alcantara, which we just talked all kinds of crap about. 46% ground ball rate. So.
Yeah, very similar EVs actually. Alcantara
and the air pull was low as well. So
yeah, very very similar batted ball profile, but he makes more contact, so that's gonna help.
Let's see. I'm sure I did see we have a few picks on Long, and we can put them on the comp tool with Alcantara. Kevin's got to be higher because people actually know the name, right? Well, no, they're kind of mixed together, all 600 to 750, but probably not making an impact this year.
Yep.
They'll play, I guess you're saying. You'll see them in the lineup, but not.
Yeah, I mean, if someone gets hurt, then he's definitely going to make an impact. But he's close enough that, like, he's got good proximity here. Number 4 is outfielder Ethan Conrad. Ethan Conrad is a huge FYPD name. He was the first-round pick out of Wake Forest for the Cubbies in this last draft. They paid him $3.6 million, more or less. This guy did not play in the pros yet, but he just absolutely raked at Wake Forest last year. 372, 495, 744 slash line with more walks than Ks. So 18% walk rate, 14% K rate, 7 home runs, 4 steals. He only played in 21 games. So he did have an injury this year, but he was just absolutely insane this year. And it's not like a one-year wonder. Last year at Wake, he also had a 389, 467, 704 slash with 9 home runs and 19 steals. So this guy has been really, really good throughout his college career. And yes, it's ACC, not SEC with Wake Forest, but ACC actually is pretty solid in baseball. There's some really good baseball schools there. Wake Forest is really known for baseball. So Ethan Conrad, very, very interesting name, 6'3", 220-pound guy too. So kind of does like everything across the board very well. Like I would almost comp him to like Ryan Waldschmidt from last year. Not really like mechanically, but just as like what he can do. Like Waldschmidt's a righty too. Conrad's a lefty, but Conrad is just like very solid across the board and could maybe be a high riser like Waldschmidt in prospect rankings from this year.
Do you pay attention to the combine, the Major League Baseball combine?
Yes, right. That's why I loved Ryan Waldschmidt last year because he just completely destroyed at the combine.
So I was at I call it the lake house, right? We live in Granger, Indiana. That's broad enough to not get me murdered. I don't think anyone will figure it out. But it's kind of a new plan all in the last 30 years. And they put in these nice man-made little lakes and to build houses around. It's really nice. My in-laws live on the pond. We're just one street over. So house was significantly cheaper because we don't have direct access to the lake, which is great. But I was over there like getting ready. We were going to have dinner or something. And I just put it on MLB Network and this was on. And there was some dude, I don't know if you remember this. I want to look him up and see where he's at now. But there was this left-handed, kind of shorter, but super jacked guy, left-handed hitter hitting balls like 117, 118. Do you remember who that was?
You might be talking about Compton because Compton was Brandon the guy from Miami. He's a second rounder from Miami. He completely destroyed at the Compton. He was awesome.
Did he get drafted?
Yeah, by the Marlins, second round.
Did we talk about him? I missed that. Did I miss him?
Yes. I think I did that pod with Doc. So Brandon Compton. But yeah,
it was incredible. I was like, this guy's hitting balls like Stanton does. That was it. The dude is yoked. Here it is. Look.
Yeah, he has terrible contact rates though. He's not.
Well, that's fine.
He's also really fast too. He's also like
exactly what fast. I was watching. Oh my god, look at that! Because I remember this is probably the exact. There's Derek Shelton right there. Shout out to the Pirates, fired Twins now. I turned it on. I was
launching missiles.
I was like, yeah, what is this? This guy?
He's just launching missiles. Right. Yeah, he's interesting for power speed, but we're not talking about the Marlins.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Yeah, Ethan Conrad though has hit 114 max EV, so he does have some pretty solid exit velocities. So we'll see how he does because he has not played in minor league ball yet. Yeah. Number 3 is Jefferson Rojas, shortstop. Rojas is going to really pop on this age to level when you pull him up here because he was a 20-year-old at AA this year. So we got on his tools, like look at this, really solid across the board here, John. 107 power, 102 hit, 109 discipline, 108 speed, and then a 157 age-adjusted WRC plus because he was 20 at AA. Like literally a young 20. Like he's still 20 years old in 7 months right now, and it's December. So he was like barely 20 at AA this year.
Yeah, but I saw him as well.
At high A. Yeah, he was at high A this year and last year. So 236, 343, 387 slash. You might say that's not that great, but you have to remember he was young for the level. So that's going to take some adjustment there. But 11 home runs, 19 steals on the season, and 80% contact rates. Doesn't strike out very much. So like 12% walk, 17% strikeout rate. So good plate skills. So he's like just really good across the board. 21 steals in 2024, 20 in 2025. So, interesting stuff. 87% stolen base success rate. Like you almost want to see him run a little more than 18% with the kind of speed he has. Like he could probably run at a higher clip. But he's a very interesting, well-rounded player, Jefferson Rojas, and way above age level. So
yeah, I like this.
Something to keep in mind.
The 5-point gap between K and walk, but without that super low swing rate, 43% is only a point or two below kind of what you'd expect. So it's a good sign. He's not just overly passive. He swings when he needs to, but still takes a lot of walks and doesn't strike out. So, yeah, definitely he was somebody that I think I tweeted out before I went to that game to prospect people like, who should I be looking for in this game? And they said Rojas was the big name, but numbers aren't there, but I guess the scouts like him. And then, I guess we're hoping that he develops a little bit of power this year, makes it up to AAA, maybe see him in 2027.
Yeah, he's had pretty good EVs. I had him as a top 100 prospect on my last update. I haven't gotten to him yet on my newest update, but he has hit up to let's see. Last year as a 19-year-old, he had a 103.3 90th. So that's not bad. And hitting tool grades, I gave him a 50 out of 55 on the hit, 55 out of 60 on the plate approach, 40 out of 50 on the power, and then a 55 out of 50 on the speed. So like I said, just like a very well-rounded player and young age to the level. So he could always develop and grow more. That was a nice swing right there.
This slide out. It was like a water slide out in left field. It looks like fun.
Good hit tool.
Nice.
Boom. Quick hands there. I like that. So that's Jefferson Rojas. Number 2 on the list is Moises Ballesteros, who's like the weirdest prospect of all time. Have you seen Moises Ballesteros before, John?
He was in the majors last year, although I'm blacked out from all Cubs.
Pull him up. You got to pull him up on YouTube. This is the weirdest guy ever. My comp from is lefty only Pablo Sandoval. Like besides Sandoval and like Alejandro Kirk, I don't even know what else you can compare this guy to.
Because he's tubby.
Yeah, he's so weird, man. Like he's like short and round. he's 5'8". He's listed at 5'8", 195 pounds. There's no way that guy's only 195 pounds. That guy has to be like 220 or bigger because he's very rotund. But look at that. Yeah. That guy, he looks like the only players you can comp that guy to is Sandoval and Alejandro Kirk. Like there's nobody else like him. He's a catcher. He's a catcher, and they've got Carson Kelly. So it's like, and they also have Amaya. So will he actually catch? But he's such a good hitter, like you have to play him. So I just don't know what they're going to do with him. Like it might be like a Kirk situation where Kirk was catcher DH. F scores really like him. 101 power, 108 hit tool, 106 discipline, 86 speed. So, really good. 108 hit tool is like maybe one of the best, John. Like, didn't you say hit tool caps out at like 112? That's like the max.
Yeah, it's one of the lower ones.
Yeah. So that's a really good hit tool, 108. But an 81.3 contact rate, 87% zone. The dude does hit the ball in the ground too much for a big guy, but he has solid exit velocities, 105, 190th, and a 112 max. Air pull is 7.9. That's very, very bad. Horrible. So he has a good contact rates, not great quality of contact, right? Like pretty poor, really. Decent exit velocities and good play skills because this guy never strikes out either. 13% K rate, almost 10% walk rate. So just a really interesting player that does not have a position. So I don't know what they're going to do with him because let's see in the majors.
62% ground ball rate in the majors.
In the majors, this is what he played. He played 1 game at catcher and 2 games at first. Looks like he did not DH. He only played in 3 games. At AAA, he had 71 games at catcher, 3 at first, and 39 games at DH.
He has 65 plate appearances in the majors. That'd be more than a few.
Yeah, why does it only show 3 games on the? I'm looking at Fangraphs. It doesn't have any more games for him than that, unless he was just pinch hitting.
Oh, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah.
His standard fielding. Where are you? Baseball Reference. These ads.
There it is.
18 DH.
Okay, 18 DH. But look, none started, right? It doesn't say game started. That's weird.
16. 16 starts 16 DH.
Okay, there we go.
1 at catcher. So it was DH.
Yeah, so if he's clogging up your DH, then what are you going to do with Long and, say, Suzuki? And, so.
Yeah, Long's going to put out a hit for this guy. It's like, we got to get this guy out of the organization so I can play.
You just got to pop him. Just get a needle. Pop him.
Yeah.
All right, number 1. I actually really love this guy. I've actually done his new write-up. It's Jaxon Wiggins. So Jaxon Wiggins, this dude throws gas. He is basically big fastball here. Throw him up on the F scores here because we're gonna have Arsenal data from him. He played in AAA.
Did we skip Owen Caissie?
Oh, we did. What happened? Okay, sorry. Let's go backwards. I don't know how that happened. Okay. Number 6 was Owen Caissie. Sorry, people. I'm just such a hater that I completely skipped him. Because
I had this guy on my home league team last year when he got called up.
People love him, but I don't like him, and I'll tell you why. His splits are atrocious. So Owen Caissie, you see F scores 120 power. That's great. 103 hit. He hits the crap out of the ball. Max EVs. He's had up to like 115 max EVs in the past. This year he had a 92 average EV, 107.9 90th, 113 max, but he has had up to 115 maxes. So you love the power. 17% barrel. That's great. I love that. 25% line drive. They're only 30% fly ball. You would like more fly balls, but you're okay with 26% line drive. So that's all okay, right? The problem with Owen Caissie is his hit tool is even okay too. 73.5 contact and 82% zone. That's slightly below average. It's not terrible. 45 on the hit tool, right? But a 28% K rate is not good in the minors. That's going to translate to the majors at like a 35% K rate, roughly. But what I don't like, John, is go down to his splits, please, so we can show the viewers. Against lefties, at 217, 351, 359 slash, 710 OPS. Against righties, he was amazing, over 1,000 OPS. This dude is going to be a platoon player. So that's why I'm not as high on Caissie, because he cannot hit lefties at all. And he is probably going to just end up being in a platoon. And in weekly leagues, I hate platoon guys. So I don't want to put him on. If you're in a weekly league, I don't even want him. If you're in a daily league, I guess you got to deal with it. But you have to get someone else to cover the other side of the platoon. But he is atrocious against lefties. So that's why I'm down on Owen Caissie. That's the reason why, like, for me, he's always been like a 100. I think I've had him in the 80s before, but for me, he's been floating in like the 80 to 120 range of my prospect rankings for like 2 or 3 years now. And I've never had him higher than that. I've seen some people have him in like the 40s, 50s, whatever. but like I just couldn't do it because his splits are so bad.
They didn't even let him face a lefty in the majors.
Yeah, I wouldn't. He was terrible against them in the minors. Why are you going to have him face a major league lefty? So
well, if you want him to eventually be an everyday player, you have to give him the practice at some point, right?
He's just not good enough. He's been doing it in the minors. He 111 plate appearances against lefties in the minors, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So he's going to be a platoon guy.
Yeah, bad batting average. 350, 400 plate appearances this year max, or so. Looks like not a ton of sample, but a 68% zone contact rate is horrible, and that's all against righties too. Didn't even have the lefties in there, so I agree. I'd stay away from that player type personally. DFS darling though, love those guys. Those like Caissie next year when the wind's blowing out against the bad righty. Sign me up. He'll be cheap.
Yep, for sure. And then now back to number one, that starting pitcher Jaxon Wiggins. So my comp to Jaxon Wiggins is I put Max Scherzer-ish, but he's got a big fastball. I threw it on his arsenals. I give him a 65 out of 65 on the fastball. He can hit 100 on it. Slider, he throws high 80s. So he floats anywhere from 82 to 89 on the slider. Pretty variable, but 50 out of 60 is the grade I threw on that. Changeup is 83 to 86 miles an hour. I threw a 55 out of 60 on that. And he throws a curve. I only give him a 35 out of 40 on the curve. I'm not really a fan of the curve. The big problem with Jaxon Wiggins is the command. Command, you can see 11% walk rates on the season, is kind of iffy, and he varies start to start on like being very dominant versus like meh. But you do love that fastball. He's got over 10 inches of vert on it, 18.1 swing strike rate on that fastball. Again, very, very high velocity. The changeup, 29.4% swing strike rate on that changeup. That is phenomenal. That's a beautiful changeup. So fastball changeup, big time for Jaxon Wiggins. And 6'6", 225, great size too. 118 F stuff, 107 F control, 116 F ERA. So I've got him, John, as my number 54 prospect. So that's where I have Wiggins ranked in my next update.
They need pitching in Chicago. Amenaga's back, but after that, it's Tyon, Horton, Boyd. It's not the worst, I guess, but they could certainly use an ace. And Amenaga's only back for 1 year, I think. Is that right? But
yeah, apparently they're in on Tatsuya Imai from Japan, but Wiggins could very well be like their Cade Horton, where Horton actually gave him a very nice workload last year out of AAA, and Wiggins has already hit AAA, so he could basically just like they could call him up just like the same time. I think Horton got called up in early May or something like that. So they could do the same thing with Wiggins, call him up in early May and then just pitch the crap out of him because Horton never stopped. Like how many innings did Horton have on the year last year? Like once he was called up, he just kept on rolling until the end of the year. And he got better and better as the year went on. 118 innings in the majors last year for Horton, 29 in the minors, 6 starts. Then they called him up after they passed Super 2, and he just kept going and never slowed down. So I think Wiggins is better than Horton, but he could get a similar workload next year. So like I would be drafting him in a redraft if you have room on the bench in a redraft league.
They threw 78 innings last year, though, so you probably won't get a ton.
He could get 120, 130, something like that. So maybe you get 20 or 30 in the minors. You know, that you limit him to 4 or 5 innings in the minors just to build him up a little bit. And then you're getting, 90 to 100 innings in the majors next year.
Yeah. He's got some ADPs going in the 500 range. How high did you have Horton last year? Was he
I had him in I had him in like the 80s or something of my starting pitcher rankings last year.
Okay.
So I can actually pull up where I have Wiggins this year. Let me pull that up real quick. Horton I have Wiggins at 74 for this year in my starting pitcher rankings. I have him right next to Shane McClanahan. So I'm like, is McClanahan actually going to come back as Shane McClanahan or not? Right. At least we know what to kind of expect from Jaxon Wiggins. And McClanahan's coming off of like multiple surgeries, so they may pitch similar innings totals.
Yeah. So high velo on both the 4-seamer and the slider. You said it's good for strikeouts, but we'll see with the command and stuff. So cool.
Yep, for sure. So that's the Chicago Cubs. You got anything else on the Cubs before we close this one out, John?
No, I while we were doing this for an hour, I watched my work inbox just emails. It's just like 25 just streaming in. It's very, very disappointing. So we got to get back to work.
Oh yeah, dude. I got a bunch of phone calls, and I got to call these people back. So that's the podcast. Follow me on Twitter, X, whatever, at Fantasy Ace Ball. Follow John at JohnPGH. Make sure you rate and review the podcast, and most importantly, subscribe to MLB Data Warehouse. And I'm going to tell you, when you subscribe, John has a little box of why you want to subscribe or whatever. Tell them that you're subscribing because of Tim and Doc.
Yeah.
If you're listening to these prospect podcasts, please tell John that you're subscribing because of Tim and Doc, because then John knows how much to love me.
And I gave you, we had one the other day. Yearly subscriber said they love Tim and Doc, so I gave the money to them. So
yeah, money, baby, money. Make my wife happy, so she doesn't get mad at me when I'm doing these podcasts. So that's the podcast. We'll see you next time, everybody. Peace out.